Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you a short instructional video how to use your Behringer FCB 1010 as a MIDI foot controller with your Line 6 HX Stomp. We'll walk through three basic examples, some things that really are very powerful. Number one, I'm going to show you how to change presets using your foot controller on the HX Stomp. Number two, I'll show you something called block bypass, a very powerful feature. Last, I'll show you something today called snapshots and how to change snapshots using your MIDI foot controller. All of these things are very powerful. I'll walk through them pretty systematically and show you step by step how all of these things are done. All right, so what I'm going to show you now is actually how to change presets using the MIDI foot controller on the HX Stomp. But the first thing that we need to understand is the HX Stomp and the FCB 1010 use a slightly different numbering system for MIDI. The foot controller, the FCB 1010, uses the numbering system of 0 to 127. The HX Stomp uses numbers 1 through 128 for all of the MIDI commands. This matters a little bit because you always need to make a slight adjustment on your foot controller by adding 1 in order to match the HX Stomp. In other words, if your HX Stomp wants a PC change on 50, then on the foot controller, you would send a PC change of 51. So always add 1 to your foot controller in order to correspond to the same number on the HX Stomp. The first thing that we're going to learn is how to change presets using the foot controller. So the first thing you see on the screen is something called clean tone. You can't see my foot controller right now, but I'm pressing another foot switch. Notice that it switched over to something called Vintage Plus. I'm going to change the preset again. I'm going to hit a foot switch. Notice it moves over to something called Lead Plus. Last, I hit another foot switch and it changes to Heavy Gain Plus. These are already presets I've created on my own using my HX Edit software. So now what I'm going to do is show you how to actually change these presets using the MIDI foot controller on your own. All right, so you might be looking at the HX Stomp. We want to make a preset change, but we need to know what PC number am I going to use in order to correspond to this preset. So I have this preset called Heavy Gain Plus. So let's find out what PC number I need. So if you see this view, you want to hit this top knob, and now it shows me on the display, I need to send a PC number of 110 or 110. Again, on my foot controller, that's going to correspond to a number of 111 so that the numbers correspond between the foot controller and the HX Stomp. Now let's move over to the foot controller and see how to send that PC change. Okay, so now we're looking at our foot controller and we're going to learn how to make a PC change on this device that corresponds to PC number 111. Or on the HX Stomp, remember it's 110. We always have to add 1 to the numbers on our foot controller. So the first thing that you need to do is hit the foot switch that you want to associate with that change. In other words, I'm going to choose number 2. So whenever I hit foot switch number 2, it will switch over to the Heavy Gain Plus preset. The first thing I'm going to do after that is I'm going to hold the down button, 3 seconds. Now I need to hit the up button to confirm that I'm going into edit mode. I've done that, and notice these lights are now solid. I want to make a PC change, so I want to come over here to foot switch number 1. I want to hold that down until the red light comes on solid. Now I'm going to hit it really quickly and notice it's blinking. Come over here to the up button, hit it up. It's asking me for a PC number. Remember, we're going to enter 111 in order to correspond to the number 110 on the HX Stomp. Remember, we're always adding 1. So all I'm going to do is 111. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to hit up. I'm going to exit this mode by hitting down. Now we're all done. Let's see how this works. All right, so we've now made our change, but now we want to test it out and see if it works. So right now on the display, I've got something that's different. That does not say the Heavy Gain Plus preset. It's some other arbitrary preset. Let me come over here and hit foot switch number 2. And now notice it switched over to the Heavy Gain Plus. We're done. So making preset changes is very simple. Okay, the next thing we're going to learn how to do is do something called block bypass. Block bypass is really powerful because it allows me to control certain things within a preset. So right now we're looking at a preset that I've called lead phaser. You can see all those blocks that are there in this particular preset, but notice one thing I'm going to do. You can't see my foot switch, but I'm going to hit my foot switch right now. And notice that two of those blocks just turned off. Let me hit my foot switch again. They turned back on. One more time, hit the foot switch, off and on. So this is really powerful because within a preset, you can control things so that maybe certain tones come on or off with just one press without having to switch between different presets. Let's see how this is done. So in order to use block bypass, notice I've created this chain and I have gain and simple delay. And what I've done is I've assigned them to CC40. I'm not going to show you how to do that on the software. You'll need to figure that out on your own, but it's extremely easy. So in order to use block bypass, just notice that I had to assign them to a CC number. In my case, I'm using 40, but you can use anything. And also I've assigned them both to the same CC channel, which means those two things will turn on or off at the same time. Okay, now we're back to our foot controller. What we want to do is I want to make it so that I can press one button to turn both of those things on at the same time, and then press that button again, and those two blocks will turn off. So effectively what I'm doing is I'm turning my simple delay and my gain on or off with the press of one button. So how do we do that? So the first thing I'm going to do is press the button that I want to associate with that change. I'll choose number 6, so I just hit 6. Now let's go into edit mode. I'm going to go ahead and press the down button for 3 seconds. Let's hit the up button to confirm we want to be in that mode. Now notice I need buttons 6 and 7 to both be illuminated with that solid red light. The first thing I'm going to do is hit 6. It's now blinking. I'm going to come over here and hit up. Now what I want to do is send a CC message of 40. So I'm going to hit 40, 4, 0, hit up. And the number that I want to send will be 127 so that it turns those things on when I hit that button for the first time. So 1, 2, 7, and hit up. Notice over there, now I need to hit number 7 briefly so that it blinks. It's blinking, and now I hit up. And now it's asking me for a CC number. I'm going to hit 40. I'm going to hit up to confirm. Now it's asking me for a value. A value of 0 in this case tells it to turn off, so I'm going to hit 0. I'm going to hit up, and now I'm all done. I hit down to confirm. Now we're all done. So now let's see how this works. Okay, we're back at our MIDI foot controller. Now let's see how well this worked. What I'm going to do is come over here and hit 6 with my foot. And I'm going to zoom in on my HX edit so you can see what's actually happening. But notice, let's come over here and zoom in. Anytime I hit 6 on the foot pedal now, watch what happens. Those two blocks are turning on or off anytime I make that change. Really powerful because it allows you to stay within the same preset and turn on either one thing or multiple things at the same time. So that's called block bypass. All right, everyone. So now I'm going to teach you how to do something called snapshots and how to control different snapshots with your foot controller. I'm not going to teach you how to create those snapshots using the HX Edit software. I'm going to assume you've created a preset that has snapshots within it. But first, let me talk about the benefits. Snapshots are a way to stay within one preset and have many things happen simultaneously. Let me give you an example. You could create 2 different presets. One preset is just a clean channel, and then your second preset might be a high gain, dirty channel. You can switch between those 2 presets, but when dealing with modelers, you might experience a tiny bit of latency when you switch from preset number 1 to preset number 2. You can avoid that latency by staying within one preset altogether. Suppose you create a clean channel, then you have a block and a number of other tones that you add that you want to stay within that preset, but turn on a whole bunch of other things without changing to a different preset. That's what a snapshot allows for you to do. So what I'm going to show you now is how to use your foot controller to change from snapshot number 1 to snapshot number 2. This allows for you to stay within the same preset, but take advantage of many different tones that can happen within that preset. Okay, here we are back at our foot controller. Notice I have this tone called clean to gain. The number at the very top right says that I'm in snapshot number 1. If I hit a button on my foot controller, notice it changes over to number 2. Essentially what I've done in this preset is I've gone from a clean channel to a high gain channel with some distorted pedals and some delay and some other tones that are built in. If I hit number 7, it goes back just to the snapshot number 1, which is a very simple tone. So let's see how I would do this using my foot controller. I'm going to come back here, and the very first thing I'm going to do is hit the button that I want to associate with my snapshot changes. I'm going to hit 7. In other words, that means every time I hit number 7, it will change my snapshots. Let's go into edit mode. I'm going to hold the down button for 3 seconds. Hit my up button to confirm. Now notice I need for buttons 6 and 7 to be illuminated with a solid red light. They are. I'm going to hit number 6 so that it's blinking. And I'm going to come over here and hit up. Now the first thing it's doing is it's asking me for a CC number. According to the manual, the HX edit manual, the snapshots are on the reserved CC channel of number 69. So I'm going to enter 69 and hit up. Now you'll notice in the manual, you need to enter in a CC value. I'm going to enter in a CC value, which according to the manual says corresponds to snapshot number 2. In other words, every time I hit this for the first time, it will go into snapshot 2. So let's hit a 1 and hit up to confirm. Now notice those 2 white lights are solid again. I'm going to hit 7, which means what happens when I press it a second time. So I hit number 7, it's blinking, hit up to confirm. It's asking me for a CC number, so I'm going to enter in 69. Hit up to confirm. Now this time, when I hit it again, I want it to go back down to snapshot number 1. So what I'm going to do is enter a value of 0, hit up to confirm. Now let me hold the down button to exit. Let's see if this worked. So what I'm going to do is anytime I hit foot switch number 7, it's going to toggle. Let me zoom in and see what's happening here. So if I hit 7, it changes to foot switch snapshot number 2. Hit the foot switch again. It goes to number 1. We're done. All right, everyone, so it's pretty simple. We've walked through three very basic things today. Number 1, how to make a preset change. Number 2, how to use block bypass. And number 3, how to use snapshot changes on your FCB. So in reality, numbers 2 and 3 were almost exactly the same thing. You might have noticed that. We're using the toggle on off. And the other thing I want to basically say is all of this stuff is just an introduction. Now that you know how to make PC changes, you can make a whole bunch of PC changes. Now that you know how to make CC changes, you can be creative and make a whole bunch of different CC changes and use the expression pedals. Those are extremely easy to use with the HX Stomp, so you can control wah, volume swells, or bring in your tones where you want to swell any of those tones up and down. So all of those things make use of the 3 things that I've already showed you to do today. Good luck. Hope this works for you.